So here are some example problems of how to solve equations with fractions, and there are more that are listed inside videos. This one looks like this. I have negative 3 equals 1 all over 7x minus 6. So what am I going to do with that? And there's two ways I can solve this when you have something equals something, if it has a fraction. And that method I'm going to do is called cross multiply and divide. And so negative 3 is the same thing as saying negative 3 over 1. I'm going to cross multiply, so I'm going to go negative 3 times all of 7x minus 6, and then I'll go 1 times 1. And I say those things are equal. That's what I do when I cross multiply. Well, now here I need to distribute my negative 3, so I'll take my negative 3 and times a 7x gives me a negative 21x, and negative 3 times a negative 6 gives me a positive 18. I now have an equation here that does not have a fraction. And to solve this, my goal is to solve for x by itself. So I will add 18 to both sides. When I add I'll subtract 18 from both sides because this is positive. So subtract 18 from both sides, so I'm left with negative 21x on the left side and a negative 17 on the right side. My goal is to get x by itself, so I'll divide both sides by negative 21. On this side, the negative 21s cancel each other out, and I'm left with an x. And on this side, I have negative 17 divided by negative 21. Negative divided by negative cancels out, so I'll cancel those out. I look to see, can I reduce this at all? And the answer is no. Now, my second method, this is a similar problem because it is something equals something, and this one's a fraction. Now, my next method that I can use will work on any kinds of equations with fractions in them. So in this case, if I had a plus 6 here, this second method will work with this problem. The first method only works if I just have something equals something and I don't have anything else added over here. And so the method 2 that I'm going to show you right now will work for all problems that are equations with fractions. The first method only works with this type of problem where something equals something. So I could still have used the first method on this problem, but I decided to show you how to use the second method. So in the second method, we find the least common denominator and we multiply both sides of the equation by the least common denominator. So in this case, the least common denominator is 4y plus 2. So I'm going to take that 4y plus 2 and I'm going to multiply the left side. Now I need to be careful. I need to make sure all of 4y plus 2 gets multiplied to the left side of the equation, which was a negative 1. So I put parentheses around it. And then I'm going to multiply the right side of the equation by a 4y plus 2. And again, I put parentheses around it just to keep it together as a unit. So I look and I see, well, what's going to happen on this left side? Well, I am going to distribute all of that negative 1. So that negative 1 gets multiplied to the 4y, and that gives me a negative 4y. And the negative 1 gets multiplied by 2, so that gives me a negative 2. And on this side, what happens is I notice that these cancel each other out, and I'm just left with a 1. So now I have this equation, and I am going to solve this equation. And it was negative 4y minus 2 equals 1. I add 2 to both sides, so I'm left with negative 4y equals 3, because 1 plus 2 is 3. My goal is to get y by itself, so I divide both sides by a negative 4. So I am left with, these cancel out, I'm left with y on the left-hand side, and 3 divided by a negative 4 is the same thing as saying a negative 3/4.